Mace Windu was easily one of the darkest yet most powerful Jedi in the Star Wars universe. He was able to control his dark side in such a way that he did not succumb to it, and he was therefore able to channel this dark energy into duels. Due to this unique combination of light and dark, he and another Jedi created the fighting style known as Vapad, also known as the seventh and most deadly form of lightsaber combat. Vapad was described as a fighting style that led the user through the penumbra of the dark side, and thus, if not properly trained, the user could come very close to the dark side. However, if the user was properly trained, he could use the fury of the opponent combined with the darkness within the opponent to create a superconducting loop that required the user to enjoy the fight and relish in the satisfaction of winning, both attributes of the dark side. In saying this, what if Mace Windu trained Anakin to control his dark side early on? Anakin displayed many signs of both the dark and the light side since his mother was beaten and killed by Tusken Raiders. From that point onwards, the shock of her death led Anakin to catalyze an explosion of his long-nursed anger and selfishness. This leads us to the question, what if the Jedi Order realized this and allowed him to be Padawan of Mace Windu, who would have taught him how to harness his dark side? Windu had always distrusted Anakin and isolated him from the Jedi Order, which eventually had a profound effect on the young Jedi and eventually tipped him to the breaking point. If Windu hadn't ignored and isolated Anakin, realized his tremendous potential in the Force, and saw the untamed dark side within him, he could have began training him in the ways of Vapad, thus helping him subdue his dark tendencies. If Windu had taught Anakin in the way of Vapad and taught him to balance his emotional tendencies, the franchise could have played out very differently. First of all, Anakin could have become very powerful and even wise. He would have felt more stable not only in the Force but also in the Jedi Order. In addition to this, Order 66 might never have even happened. Palpatine may have not even tried to tempt Anakin to the dark side if he knew he was training with Windu, and thus he would have had to try and take a gamble on executing Order 66 without Anakin to try and bring the Jedi Order down. Even if this did happen, Mace Windu would have brought his new Padawan Anakin to defeat Palpatine with him. Although it is unclear whether Palpatine was faking being weak and losing to Windu in Episode 3 to elicit an emotional response from Anakin, or Mace legitimately bested Palpatine, it is still very likely that Anakin and Mace would have been able to arrest and even kill Palpatine. Even if Palpatine had managed to enact Order 66 before being discovered and arrested, the clones that were executing Order 66 at the Jedi Temple would have had an extremely tough time without their General Anakin, as well as their morale being severely decreased. The only potential downside of this scenario is that many Jedi lives would have been lost on the battlefields due to the Order. The Jedi Temple, however, still had a high chance of withstanding the clone force, as there was no Anakin to aid them. In addition to this, if the Security Council was still intact, then there was a chance that Order 66 could be completely overridden and cancelled. To summarize my theory, if Anakin's instability was recognized, and his potential was unlocked by Windu, he could have, and most likely would have been one of the most powerful Jedi to ever live. In addition to preventing Anakin being susceptible to the dark side and Palpatine, this would have also changed the course of the Star Wars galaxy, as having Anakin by his side was a key part of Sheev Palpatine's plan to overthrow the Jedi. In saying all of this, it is only a theory and nothing is 100%, but for me this is the most foreseeable outcome and situation that I saw if Anakin was trained by Mace Windu. This brings me to the question of the video. Do you have any differing opinions of what would happen if Anakin was trained by Windu? If so, leave your analysis in the comments below. Thanks for watching.